Corpo humano. 206 ossos, 650 músculos. Um coração que bate aproximadamente 3 bilhões de vezes. Pulmões que distribuem o ar através de 2.400 quilómetros de vias respiratórias. Tudo sublimamente dirigido por bilhões de células nervosas e bilhões de quilómetros de informação genética, numa combinação tal que torna cada um de nós único. 100 trilhões de células, um corpo humano maravilhoso que todos os dias nos leva a percorrer uma viagem miraculosa, a alargar fronteiras, a enfrentar desafios espantosos, a ultrapassar os limites já alcançados pelo próprio homem. Um profissional do basquetebol redefine os seus limites.
I think if I could look inside my body, you'd probably see our heart just beating a lot faster.
Um casal estéril desafia as hipóteses que tem de gerar vida.
I would say she has at least a 50-50 chance of getting pregnant, but you just don't know going into it where it's going to go.
Um professor luta contra a morte que se esconde bem no interior do seu cérebro.
How serious is it? The tumor is going to kill him, so it's deadly serious.
It was like I said goodbye because I didn't know what he would be like coming out.
São os dramas diários da vida humana que têm lugar dentro de nós, em territórios que os nossos olhos não alcançam. Mas agora podemos ver. Atualmente, a nova tecnologia permite-nos perscrutar o interior do nosso corpo como até agora nunca fora possível. Ver um cérebro a pensar, um coração a bater, uma vida a começar. Descobrir as capacidades sem limites do incrível corpo humano.
The human body is mind-boggling to see how the whole system is integrated in a sense. The heart beats, the brain is firing electrical signals. Your eyes are capable of catching all these wavelengths and storing the light, retrieving the information. If you approached me as an engineer and said, make me a system, they can retrieve that kind of information of sound, light, put it with memory for everything you've ever seen. This is amazing, a piece of equipment. And it can all be stored in these little teeny cells, which all come together and form this beautiful snowflake called a human, with each one of them amazingly different.
Por todo o mundo, em cada quarto de segundo, um novo ser humano começa a sua viagem para a vida proveniente de um agregado de células. Para compreender os espantosos resultados dessa viagem, temos de começar pelo princípio, o milagre da concepção. Para alguns casais, este milagre tão comum parece ser impossível. Atualmente, a ciência da reprodução, conjugando a técnica e o conhecimento com a magia da natureza, pode fazer que o impossível aconteça, dando-nos uma visão maravilhosa do início da vida humana.
My husband and I have been together 11 years, and we were trying but not trying, and it just dawned on us one day that something might be wrong, you know, that I'm not getting pregnant, and we decided to investigate.
What I want to do is spend most of the time talking about in vitro with you guys.
O Dr. Mark Sauer não diz que faz milagres, mas cerca de uma vez por semana, a sua equipa de fertilização ajuda a trazer bebés ao mundo através da fertilização in vitro, ou FIV. Com a ajuda do Dr. Sauer, Inês e Darrell Pearson terão 50% de probabilidades de gerar uma nova vida.
IVF really is a natural process, even though it's outside the human body, because it allows us to put sperm and egg together and create an embryo, which is no different than what happens in nature.
Mas, ao contrário do que acontece na natureza, o acesso ao laboratório do Dr. Sauer permitir-nos a observar com um detalhe extraordinário o encontro entre o espermatozoide e o
So
óvulo.
we see you a lot over the next few weeks. Okay.
Okay. We're just ready to get started now.
You can go ahead and push it back in and try it again, maybe a little more slowly. You'll turn the whole vial.
Inês inicia um tratamento de injeções de hormonas que estimularão os ovários para produzirem mais do que o habitual óvulo mensal.
Do it like this. I'll squeeze the skin.
You'll wipe with alcohol
Wipe with
first,
alcohol.
like so, okay?
Oh, God.
A little bit faster than that. Yeah, like that.
Oh, my God.
Ready? You can just have to stay down here, okay?
Chegou a hora. Como esperado, muitos óvulos estão prontos. Enquanto adormece, Inês deixa escapar um desejo.
What was that? What did she say?
She said, I want a boy.
That's what I thought she said.
Start on the left side. There's a lot of follicles. You can see the needle tip there on the screen.
O extraordinário óvulo onde começa a vida humana é uma simples célula do tamanho da espessura de um cabelo, praticamente invisível.
Most people have no idea how small a cell is. If I crudely scrape the inside of my mouth, I have about 10,000 cells under my fingertip. These things are really small. You can't see that without a microscope. And yet that can make a human. See how amazing this is?
Um a um, os 27 óvulos são recolhidos. Quando a segurança dos óvulos fica garantida, procede-se à recolha do sêmen de Darrell. O embriologista Bob Prosser filtrará os espermatozoides mortos e os menos saudáveis.
Okay, this is the before sample. It has not been processed. And so from this, we can compare this with the post-processing sample. You can see that the sample is much cleaner. Almost all of the sperm are motile. And they look like happy campers.
O Dr. Prosser posiciona o óvulo, ampliado 400 vezes, e prepara o espermatozoide que selecionou de entre centenas deles. O momento crítico da fertilização dá-se quando o espermatozoide é injetado. Como um grande arquiteto celeste, o Dr. Prosser repete a operação conduzindo o espermatozoide para outro óvulo. Se este é o encontro que define o sucesso, então estamos a assistir, quase em tempo real, ao primeiro de muitos milagres que levarão à vida de uma criança. Dois destinos humanos interlaçam-se à medida que o material genético do óvulo de Inês e do espermatozoide de Darrell se misturam. Cada um contribui com 23 cromossomas, cadeias de informação, que em breve se combinarão. Como uma cordilheira microscópica, cada cromossoma transporta genes compostos por moléculas de ADN, a forma mais elementar da vida humana. Juntas, estas moléculas formam um intrincado manual de instruções, o projeto para um ser humano inteiramente novo.
The human body, like a house, is built from a rolled up set of blueprints. which is rolled up into a little chromosome, and it's a DNA sequence, and it says blue eyes. It says female. It says about 5'8" with brown hair.
A tarefa épica para descodificar o genoma humano, o código da vida humana, em breve poderá abrir a comporta a um manancial de revelações biológicas. Craig Venter esteve na dianteira deste conhecimento.
The genome is our collection of all our genetic information. It's a 4-letter alphabet composing DNA, and when we sequence the genome, we determine the exact order of roughly 3 billion of those letters. It's elegant in its simplicity. The genetic code has 4 different chemicals. We substitute A, C, G, and T for those. We attach 4 different color dyes, 1 color for each of the letters of the genetic code. It's like just solving a jigsaw puzzle, only the jigsaw puzzle has, in our case, 27 million pieces. So it came in a very big box and there was no picture on the cover.
Juntar as peças deste puzzle é gerar conhecimento para aumentar a qualidade da vida humana e até talvez a sua longevidade.
We're at the very fundamental first steps in a very powerful force. There's some relationship between aging and our genes. So if we can control those genes, will we be able to extend the aging process? Well, it's distant stuff, but probably. Knowing the human genome and mapping up how it changes is a major step forward in understanding the making of this wonderful human body that we've got. Through the history of time, the DNA sequence has been marching down through generation after generation of your relatives. And now it continues in your offspring.
Durante a noite, o ADN dos óvulos de Inês e dos espermatozoides de Darrell unem-se. E 13 dos 27 óvulos evidenciam um aspecto rugoso, revelador de sucesso. Tudo está a correr bem. Com uma enorme graciosidade, uma célula divide-se em 2 e 2 em 4. Cada uma duplica o ADN original. A misteriosa divisão celular continua. Os embriões são monitorizados durante 2 dias. Por fim, a divisão forma umas massas de células chamadas blastocistos. Cada um destes blastocistos tornar-se-á uma parte da família Pearson.
This embryo here, if you look at the outer shell on this center embryo, it's very thin. The embryo is getting ready to hatch out of its shell. It's a very nice blastocyst. The inner cell mass is going to become the embryo itself, what you normally think of when you think of a baby. Arms, head, legs, toes, fingers. And actually this inner cell mass is where you find the embryonic stem cells, which are very much in the center of the genetic revolution that's going on right now.
As células embrionárias, ou stem cells, estão na origem da vida humana. Estas células mágicas transformar-se-ão em cada um dos tipos de células do corpo humano. O extraordinário potencial das células embrionárias isoladas fizeram delas um graal da ciência, mas também um motivo de controvérsia. O Dr. John Gerhardt esteve na linha da frente desta tarefa.
These cells have 2 properties. One is that if you keep them in the dish, under certain culture conditions, they will continue to form more cells like themselves. So you can grow a room full of these embryonic stem cells, and they are undifferentiated cells. They all look alike. If you take some of these cells, though, and you put them out in different kind of growth conditions, these cells are capable of forming all the cell types that are present in the human body. What we are looking at here are heart muscle cells that are beating as a tissue.
Antes, eram células embrionárias com destino desconhecido. O Dr. Gerhardt dirigiu o seu desenvolvimento para se transformarem em células do coração, agora capazes de bater em imperfeita sincronia.
It's always been the dream of humankind that someday we would be able to replace tissues in the body that were either damaged or diseased or simply worn out. But we really never had the starting material to do this. Now we have in the laboratory, in our dishes, growing nicely, virtually all the cell types that are present in the human body.
They make a you. A stem cell can make you. That's pretty powerful. And I can control this stem cell and understand everything about it. Now we're set up to answer one of the first and basic questions about how a human is made.
As we hoped, we have very well formed and ready to transfer type of blastocysts.
Após 6 dias de crescimento em laboratório, os embriões de Inês estão prontos para serem implantados. É-lhe mostrado o que pode vir a ser o seu primeiro filho.
With embryos of this quality, if I put in 3, the chance of multiple birth may be as high as 40 to 50%, usually twins. If that makes you overly nervous, then I would suggest putting in 2, which still gives you a very good rate, but less multiples. What do you think about all that?
I think we'll go with the 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do 2.
At first I was going to just do 2. So, well, if one doesn't make it, then one will live. And at the last minute, I was sitting there thinking about it. I said, well, that's not that much either. I mean, for the amount of things that we have gone through, to just do 1 was not a very smart idea to do. And then we started talking about it and said, wow, 2's not that great either.
Okay.
So maybe I'll do the 3.
Now you want to do...
Yeah, I'll do the 3.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll put in that new order for you. Bob, she wants the 3 now.
Os 3 embriões são colocados num único catéter e conduzidos até à parede do útero de Inês.
Placement is very good. Well, this is what you hope for when you start. I really think it's a 50-50 chance for her at this point. Whether or not she's going to get pregnant, we'll find out in about 10 days.
I didn't get really, really excited because they said, there is a chance that it might not work, might not be successful, and we don't want you to really get your hopes up too high, so I just kept it like that.
A ciência fez o seu melhor, mas para Inês adivinham-se 10 dias muito longos. 27 óvulos recolhidos, 13 fecundados, 5 blastocistos viáveis, 3 dando a Inês a hipótese de ser mãe.
Under the first power? Does that look right? Not really, does it? Okay, what about 10 to the first power? Does that look right?
Muito daquilo que sabemos sobre o funcionamento do corpo humano surge quando temos de tratá-lo.
Was it right?
Scott Tennis, um experiente professor do ensino secundário e treinador de futebol na zona rural do Dakota do Norte, tem ataques de apoplexia que o enfraquecem e que levaram à assustadora descoberta de um grande tumor no cérebro. Há 2 meses, o tumor de Scott aumentou muito de tamanho, bem como a frequência e gravidade dos seus ataques. Desmaiava muitas vezes. Se não fosse tratado, Scott teria menos de 1 ano de vida.
I had 3 seizures in 3 weeks, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, we need to do something.
Scott e a sua mulher Lisa viajaram até à conhecida clínica Mayo, em Rochester, no Minnesota, onde é aconselhado que se façam as cirurgias de alto risco ao cérebro. O cérebro é um órgão insaciável. Ainda que o cérebro pese apenas 2% do peso do corpo de Scott, consome 20% do oxigênio. Situando-se no interior do crânio, os seus 2 hemisférios contêm 100 bilhões de células, cujas ligações intensas originam a consciência. Mas se estas ligações são interrompidas por uma doença ou um tumor, as falhas de ignição cerebrais e as tempestades elétricas podem provocar grandes estragos no seu interior.
Yes. My job here today is to put these markers on. Okay, and they create a reference mark on the MR images. Okay.
É vital conhecer a localização exata do tumor. Qualquer movimento na direção errada pode deixar Scott paralisado, remover células fundamentais do cérebro ou pior.
Last two. And we're all set. Okay. Thank you.
As imagens da ressonância magnética mostram a localização do tumor. Mas é essencial identificar as funções específicas da área que ocupa e fazê-lo a 3 dimensões. A partir destes corpos, é produzida para os cirurgiões uma visualização do cérebro a 3 dimensões. Isto permitir-lhes-á verem o interior do cérebro a partir de qualquer ângulo, como se o crânio e o cérebro fossem transparentes.
Early on, when I first came to Mayo, I was doing some imaging, early 3-dimensional imaging, and would talk to a neurosurgeon and showed him some of my visualizations of the brain and the tumor. And he told me something I've never forgotten. If I can see it, I can fix it.
What you can see is you can remove any plane you want to. So if I want to get the skull off, and then I want to get the covering off, and I want to move down, I just hit buttons that will move me down to just the area I'm working on. It's a totally different picture. It's the same as walking inside a building versus standing on the outside.
Scott e Lisa encontram-se com o Dr. Frederick Meyer, o cirurgião da difícil operação.
Scott has a brain tumor that's infiltrated through the dominant part of his brain. And it's close to the part of the brain that controls movement to the right side of the body. And it's very close to his language centers. And it's sitting within an area that helps initiate and coordinates motor activity, movements. We can see it starting, this white area here, this is the left side of the brain. This is all tumor here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here.
Ameaçadoramente, a imagem revela a dificuldade da operação. O tumor de Scott localiza-se numa zona particularmente perigosa, na camada mais exterior do cérebro, que se pensa ser a parte responsável pelo pensamento. O tumor situa-se na região crítica que controla a fala e o movimento, e está perigosamente entrelaçado com o tecido saudável do cérebro. De modo a prevenir lesões nestas áreas, os cirurgiões precisarão de falar com Scott durante a intervenção, o que significa que Scott vai ter de ficar acordado grande parte da operação. É a melhor oportunidade que tem para regressar a uma vida normal.
This is all very controversial. I think it's a very difficult decision. I mean, it's an awful decision that no one should have to make. How serious is it? If he doesn't have successful treatment of his tumor, whatever that treatment is or consists of, tumor is going to kill him. And he's a young man. So it's deadly serious.
Those words just hit me like a ton of bricks. The things that ran through my mind were my kids, my family, and is this going to be our last Christmas together?
Have a seat. Okay.
Passaram-se 10 dias e, à medida que Inês espera pelos resultados do seu teste de gravidez, o momento da verdade aproxima-se.
I just want to let you know that your pregnancy test was positive. So, which is wonderful.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, give me a hug.
Yes, I was surprised. Yeah. But, you know, I saw everybody, nobody looked sad or anything when I walked into the office. I said, must be good news. So that kind of gave it away a little bit. Everybody was like, you know, acting normal, too normal for me, you know. And I kind of like said, I guess everything must be okay. Hello. What are you doing? Well, I got good news for you. I'm pregnant. Why are you laughing? He's like, you're pregnant? Ah! And he was laughing. He was like, oh, that's so nice. Oh, boy.
This is where the fun begins, because now we have something to track. It's real. It's a pregnancy. That's what everybody's been hoping for. Watching this embryo take form to a fetus, and the fetus, hopefully later to a baby, is really the fun part of this job.
The first thing you're gonna notice is that right here is a pregnancy sac.
Okay.
Okay, and you see a little area kind of fluttering right there? That's the heartbeat of the baby.
Can I have a picture of that?
I'm gonna give you lots of pictures here. Now you have some, God has truly blessed you. You actually have two, because you see there's one baby there, okay? And then you see the other baby over here. We get a nice view. Right there, you can see the heartbeat fluttering. See that right by the X? So you have twins. I hope that's good news. Get a nice picture.
That was my first time ever seeing a heartbeat, so that was like pretty amazing. It's just a wonder. You look at that and you're like, it's a living baby growing inside of you with a heartbeat. That's when it really hits you, yeah. This is the best shot here. This one.
It's during this period where all of a sudden the first system you see kicking in is the circulatory system. You see blood vessels form, the heart is in there beginning to beat, and it's very critical because an embryo can only grow so large without its own circulatory system.
Aos 22 dias, o pequeno coração do tamanho de uma semente de papoila começa a bater. Em breve, o embrião começa a bombear o seu próprio sangue através do cordão umbilical que o liga à mãe, encontrando aí um suplemento de oxigênio e de nutrientes. De um simples tubo, este coração desenvolver-se-á numa estrutura de 4 compartimentos capaz de bater 100 mil vezes por dia. Numa vida de 70 anos, um coração humano terá batido 3 bilhões de vezes. Isto pode explicar porque é que os praticantes de yoga gostam de medir o tempo em batidas de coração e não em dias. Os jogadores da NBA contam os minutos que jogam em campo. E esta noite, os limites aeróbicos do Charlotte Hornets estão a ser submetidos a testes rigorosos. Estão a jogar o desafio que poderá vir a ser o mais longo da história da equipa. Um prolongamento triplo que exigirá, mesmo para estes atletas profissionais, levarem o seu corpo ao limite. Como é que o fazem? A correrem no campo, bombeiam mais de 34 litros de sangue por minuto. Nesse mesmo instante, mesmo o espectador mais excitado bombeia apenas cerca de 6 litros de sangue por minuto.
I think you feel your heart beating, you know, especially if it's a pressure game or if you have one of them spells where you're up and down the court a lot. Yeah, you can definitely feel your heart and it feel like it's about to come out of your chest. I think if I could look inside my body or any one of my peers' body, I just think how hard. And you compare a normal person, you probably see how hard just beating a lot faster.
O ritmo cardíaco é controlado pelo cérebro e adapta-se às necessidades do corpo. Em esforço, quando os músculos precisam de uma quantidade de oxigênio extra, são enviadas mensagens ao cérebro para acelerarem o ritmo do coração de acordo com as necessidades. Para os Hornets, estes últimos 30 segundos do prolongamento triplo sobrecarregaram os seus corações e músculos como nunca antes acontecera. O treinador chama os seus jogadores esgotados para as instruções finais. Pontuação final: Bulls 95, Hornets 102.
It was a long game. I'm feeling a little dehydrated. Feel a little sick to my stomach. My ankles hurt, my feet hurt, my back hurts. This is the agony of victory.
I'm talking to James.
I'm really impressed by what NBA players do with their bodies. It's just incredible. I think they are the best athletes in the world, without a doubt. How they do it night in, night out is just fascinating. They're running faster, they're jumping higher, because I think we're able to train the human body. It's doing things that we didn't think it was able to do maybe 10, 20 years ago.
Explode one. Good, explode.
Sabemos que os corpos de atletas profissionais como P.J. Brown estão especificamente adaptados. Os músculos pesam mais de metade do peso do seu corpo. Os ossos são muito mais fortes que uma barra de aço com o mesmo peso. Em conjunto, são treinados para se moverem com uma grande precisão. Mas é apenas a adaptação que faz destes jogadores uns atletas fora de série? Cientistas e atletas suspeitam que uma estreita relação entre o corpo e o espírito é mais importante.
I feel that I've been playing this game so long that everything is just a reaction at this point. You know, taking 100 or 500 or 1,000 shots a day, you know, eventually it's just a part of you.
Estes treinos intermináveis fora da competição provocam reações muito mais rápidas em jogo. É como se o treino estivesse ligado diretamente ao cérebro.
A professional basketball player that trains hard in many ways is a genius, in the sense that they can run down the court and dribble at the same time and see all the players at the same time and shoot the ball in ways that people that don't train never could. We're beginning to try to understand the implications of the fact that what you do can influence the structure of your brain, and very specifically, voluntary exercise can actually increase the number of cells in the brain.
When you have a cell, and it's called a neuron, this little thing puts out arms just like a tree branches. And as it watches it under the microscope, it's doing feely-touchy everywhere. And it reaches out, as soon as it touches another one, it knows what it's touched. And it's wired itself. And then it begins to stretch through so it can sense the periphery, your fingertips, and your tongue. They all come back through the spinal cord, and they all make their way up here finally to the brain. And the brain is where all these collective properties of putting all this together says, now I can sense the universe. Wow, I don't know what that is. I know that it's these cells that do this. But how does that brain inside the cavity of the head work? Some strange things going on there. So what the frontier, of course, is understanding the brain.
Spell the word man.
M-A-N.
Has.
H-A-S.
Rain.
Falta menos de um dia para a operação de Scott na Clínica Mayo.
Yellow.
Para os médicos compreenderem melhor como funciona o cérebro de Scott, executam uma bateria de testes cognitivos e de linguagem.
Say they raise good potatoes.
They raise good potatoes.
Will you answer the telephone?
Will you answer the telephone?
I ordered a ham sandwich, a glass of milk, and a piece of apple pie.
I ordered a ham sandwich, piece of apple pie, and a glass of milk. Penguin.
Estes testes permitirão à equipa de cirurgiões aperceber-se das alterações, dos sinais de perigo ao falarem com Scott durante a operação.
I wish he didn't have to be awake and he could just put him to sleep and do it and be over with, but yet have the same results. I mean, it's going to be tough.
I need to be conscious through the whole thing. I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to go, but that's very intimidating.
Wheelchair. Pelican. Dog.
Do you know how many images your eye has seen since you were born?
Saw.
Do you know how many sounds you've heard? How in the world could you have stored all of those sounds and all of those images in French, German, English, or whatever you're storing it in, and be able to retrieve it when I just say the word? If I say Saturn's rings, how are you able, in the length of time it took the sound wave to hit your ear, to retrieve that? It is so astounding when we take a look at it, at how fast the brain works, and how amazing it is.
Como e onde o cérebro executa esta complexa memória, há séculos que intriga os cientistas. A ciência está a tentar desvendar este grande mistério e obteve uma resposta de uma fonte inesperada. Os famosos taxistas de Londres são os atletas olímpicos da memória. Conduzindo no intimidante labirinto do centro de Londres, têm de desenhar um intrincado mapa mental constituído por milhares de ruas, referências e lugares.
London is such an enormous city. It's a massive area, chaotic geography, and it's grown up organically. There's no real planning to it, so the streets bend, they twist.
I mean, in London, we've got streets where on one side of the street it's called one name, and on the other side of the street it's got another name.
London wasn't laid out for the traffic that we've got now. It was laid out for horses and carts and whatever. And it's adapted to a large extent. So we've had to adapt to it as well, you know.
Os cientistas da Universidade de Londres que estudam a forma da memória encontraram temas ideais mesmo à sua porta. Há 150 anos que todos os candidatos a taxistas têm de passar um exame conhecido pelos londrinos simplesmente por o conhecimento. Na melhor das hipóteses, levam 2 anos para se formarem, fornecendo aos cientistas uma excelente oportunidade para estudarem como se adapta o cérebro quando precisa de reter grandes quantidades de informação.
I don't think there's any other city in the world where the cab drivers have to take as much of a test as we do.
Thanks, mate. Can you take me to Albert Hall?
Albert Hall, yeah.
Cheers.
When somebody gets in your cab, they'll say, take me to so-and-so, and it's got to be like that. You've got to know instantly where you're going, which way to be pointing. So there's a lot of retention. You've got to retain a lot of what you've learned as well.
São pessoas comuns cujo emprego depende de exercitar o cérebro de uma maneira extraordinária. Os cientistas suspeitam que uma região particular do cérebro, o hipocampo, seja a chave do seu sucesso.
The hippocampus is a part of the brain deep in the brain. It's on the sort of insides of what we call the temporal lobes, which are the parts of the brain immediately to, either side of the temple, just behind the bone there. There's 2 structures, one on each side, critical for laying down new memories.
Now, run me to the nearest police station.
Lead by Waterloo Bridge, Ford Lancaster Place.
Se a memória depende do hipocampo, na Knowledge Point School, os candidatos a taxistas certamente treinam bem essa parte do cérebro.
Lower Robert Street. Right, York Way.
Left Shaftesbury Avenue, left Great Windmill Street.
Right into Goldhawk Road and sit down on the left.
Dave, give me the name of a restaurant on Portland Road with a lady's name.
Chutney Mary's.
Hereford Road, where would you give me?
Veronica's.
Denise, Southampton Road contains a restaurant with a lady's name.
Would that be Denise's restaurant?
If I then said to you, Zaffarano's restaurant, Zaffaren restaurant, Zuka Zo, I now want zinc. It's very important with all these points that you keep them in your mind and see them in your eyes, OK? That's it. Thank you for attending, and keep these sheets. Anything we didn't know, please go out and look for it. Thank you very much.
Depois das aulas, estudantes como Andy Miller vão para as ruas. Uma vez que o processamento visual provoca uma atividade cerebral maior que os outros sentidos, não é de admirar que a experiência direta seja uma parte essencial para o treino do conhecimento.
You start off learning all the roads, then you have to learn all the places on every road. With all the routes that you have to do for the knowledge, you couldn't possibly do it on a map. You have to get out on your bike in the rain, the cold, the snow. You learn it bit by bit. The brain is gradually gathering more and more and more information. As long as you keep remembering and revising streets, they will stay in your brain.
Mas como é que o cérebro fixa e ordena toda essa informação? Como os cientistas suspeitavam, dominar o conhecimento pode ter um impacto físico no próprio cérebro. O estudo concluiu que parte do hipocampo destes condutores era maior que o da média das pessoas. De facto, as maiores diferenças foram observadas nos condutores que trabalhavam há mais tempo.
The hippocampus has a spatial map in it, and what seems to be happening in the taxi drivers is that the spatial map is laid down of central London. And laying this down causes the connections to develop and grow and more of them to form, and that makes part of the hippocampus get bigger.
It's almost like you've somehow, somewhere up in your brain, you've created enough space to sort of slip this map in, a little bit of software.
You've got to see it in your head, on a map in your head. You build up a big picture of London as a map in your mind, and you can see the lines and the wiggles of the streets so that you can see exactly where everything is.
Este estudo sugere algo que pensávamos ser impossível, que o cérebro adulto pode modificar a sua anatomia de acordo com as suas necessidades.
I think it's a very important study because it's shown for the first time in man that the hippocampus can reorganize itself. But what does it mean? It means that the hippocampus is changeable. We say in science it's plastic, like a bit of plasticine, you know, it actually can change shape.
I definitely feel as though I've got a larger hippocampus than most people. In fact, it's been said. I've had people get in the cab and say, I've noticed you've got a larger hippocampus than most others.
It's quite interesting, really, because we just set out to do the knowledge, to learn it for our job, and now we're being told that we've exercised part of our brain, which is enlarged now, and, you know, it's got to be a bonus, hasn't it?
Se a existência humana pode ser descrita como o somatório das nossas recordações, as implicações do estudo são grandes e vão muito mais longe. Outrora, não nos atrevíamos a sonhar que o nosso cérebro possuía este tipo de adaptabilidade. Atualmente sonhamos se estes conhecimentos poderão ser utilizados para ajudar a recuperar vítimas de acidentes vasculares cerebrais, doentes de Alzheimer e de outros traumas cerebrais.
I do know that he's going to have surgery, and I know he's going to stay in the hospital for a couple of days. And I know that he might have to learn how to read and write again a little bit, so I might have to read him some books and teach him how to write again. And I know that he's kind of scared about this, and my mom is too.
Foi uma noite em branco para Scott Tinnis. Por isso, estar acordado às 6 horas da manhã não é um problema.
Right now, I'm to the point now where I want to get it over with, just because I know what he's going through. We know when we were told that he will be banged up for a little while. But how long is that going to take, and how much is it going to be? That's the scary part. I was calm until I saw him walk away. I tried to follow as far as I could, and I knew I couldn't go any farther when he got into the pre-op. It was like I said goodbye, because I didn't know what he would be like coming out.
This part's a little uncomfortable, so I'm gonna numb out the skin.
I'm very scared. There's a reason you have a skull. It's to protect your brain. And then all of a sudden they're gonna crack that open and go into your brain and take something out of there.
This pinion down, you're gonna feel pressure.
You know, the thought that someone that I've only met once is I'm trusting my head to be dug around in by this person. It's a scary thought.
Scott tem de permanecer absolutamente imobilizado para a operação que pode demorar 6 horas. Por isso a sua cabeça tem de ser fixada no lugar. Os pontos digitalizados no dia anterior permitem aos cirurgiões alinhar as imagens do cérebro com o cérebro real. Scott é anestesiado para lhe abrirem o crânio para a cirurgia. Em breve os médicos acordá-lo-ão para o resto da operação.
First thing we're going to do, I think, is we'll go ahead and stimulate, confirm the precentral gyrus as a start.
Guiado pelas extraordinárias imagens a 3 dimensões para ver aquilo que os olhos não conseguem, o Dr. Meyer aproxima-se das fronteiras do tumor.
We come to the tumor. It looks like we're just on the outside of it. And anteriorly, there's the border, just as you would predict. So the tumor goes from here, all the way up to about here. And of course, it's going down deep too. All right, we're going to start the stimulation then, okay?
I'm ready.
Os impulsos elétricos vão interromper a atividade cerebral na zona específica que vai ser testada, permitindo ao Dr. Meyer ver quanto pode cortar sem provocar perdas significativas. Alguns milímetros à esquerda pode afetar a fala. Milímetros à direita pode impedir o movimento.
On.
Numbness of the arm there is a jerk at the arm, at the elbow.
This area caused movement of his arm, his hand, his fingers and thumb on here. And it's always amazing, I think, to all of us that such a little part of the brain has so much function. Sort of a miraculous thing.
Passarão horas antes que Lisa tenha alguma notícia.
I could sit for maybe 20 minutes at a stretch and then I'd have to do something else because I tried to keep myself occupied, but it was hard. I kept looking at my watch and I was scared, very scared.
Enquanto o Dr. Meyer corta com o seu bisturi, o Dr. Duffy mantém-se atento para ver se a linguagem não é afetada.
Please sit down. Please sit down. They raise good potatoes. They raise good potatoes. Will you answer the telephone? Will you answer the telephone?
Oh, my leg.
Your leg?
My leg. What about your leg?
It's tightening up. Feels tightness in his right leg.
Okay.
Spell the word watch. W-A-T-C-H. The word yellow. Y-E-L-O. Okay.
Everything okay?
Right leg is getting a little bit weaker. That one got a lot of weakness.
A lot or a little?
A lot. It's about moderate. It's about a -2.
Okay, so we'll stop our resection in that area. Your speech is just fine, obviously. Your arm's okay.
Yes.
But we're not going to resect any more in that leg region, okay?
Okay.
For what it's worth, Scott, we're getting a very big removal of your tumor.
Okay.
I think if we go any more, we're going to really probably guarantee giving you a paralysis, and I don't think that's a good trade-off. And if I were in your shoes, I'd want me to stop. Why don't you ask Steve? Steve, you feel like you know Scott. What patients go through is really an awful event. It's an awful experience. And I think it's helpful for them to visually see, gosh, this was in me, and now it's out.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
That's the tumor, huh?
That's the tumor.
Cool. Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Seen enough, huh?
Oh, there you are. He's doing just fine. Everything went as well as we could hope for. It looks like well over 90% of the tumor's been removed, which is better than I thought we would do, as you know. In terms of his function, I think it's sort of as I predicted to you, but better. His language is fine, his arm's normal.
I was very nervous when Dr. Meyer came and talked to us because I was expecting dreaded news. But as he kept talking and kept looking better and better, got a little bit of the brick off my shoulder.
We would never say that this is a cure.
Right.
But I think in terms of the spectrum of things, I think what we did today has given him a good shot at trying to beat it. Okay? We'll let you be.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was scared to see him, what he would look like. I walked around the corner slow because I knew I was ahead, but I didn't know. I expected his face to be swollen up and on an oxygen and things like that. But when I saw him, I was like relieved. I could handle it.
What I'm feeling right now is a little headache.
A little headache? He sounded very good. He squeezed my hand and it was pretty tight for having some weakness from the swelling.
Tendo visto a morte tão próxima, Scott é capaz de falar e mexer-se. Se tivesse feito a cirurgia acordado e sem as imagens que tornaram o cérebro como que transparente, o resultado poderia ter sido desastrosamente diferente.
It's good to see him smile. Because he's, it's been hard for him to smile lately.
Seis meses depois, Scott voltou a dar aulas e a treinar futebol. Um dia, a geração dos seus filhos viverá num mundo onde os avanços da ciência que o salvaram parecerão vulgares, ultrapassados por novos avanços inimagináveis atualmente.
Each time a tool comes into place, it expands what we can do. It's like the internet. It constantly is expanding. So what I have seen happen in my lifetime in biological science is the change from a horse and carriage to a space shuttle. The computer changes are minor compared to what we've been able to see changing in biological understanding.
Para Inês e Darrell, este conhecimento deu-lhes duas vidas. Vidas que rapidamente revelam a sua própria resiliência. Nascidos prematuros, com uma cesariana de emergência, Kayla e Kazem Pearson passaram a sua primeira semana de vida no hospital, mas começaram logo a crescer, fortes e cheios de saúde.
Is it magic? It's like when you hold your baby for the first time. You can say, oh, this is just DNA dividing cells. Wait a minute, this is pretty amazing. This goes beyond just a simple dividing DNA. Where in here does something become, quote, quote, miracle or magic? A human, when it all comes together, makes something that's more than the sum of its parts. And that something is consciousness, is the ability to store information, to think, to create, and to conceive the universe. This is the mystery of the human. We do not know what the human potential is. Everything we think is a roadblock to what a human can do physically and mentally is proven to be wrong. And this just means the limitations that we have set can be overcome.